Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today I wanted to talk about the books I read in January. Now, I have rediscovered my love for reading. I started reading again back in September and I just can't get enough. My TBR list is just a mile long and I could not be happier about it. So I wanted to share the books that I read in January. I read 8 total, and let me tell you, I'm proud of myself for that. Starting off, I read the Knock 'Em Out series. Now, I had a little bit of an oopsies because I accidentally read the 3rd book first. So I finished that December 31st and then I read the first 2. Don't ask me why. I think it's because I had them like this because I was like, oh yeah, this is like the order that they go in when I bought them. I put them on my shelf this way. And so when I put them on my shelf, this was the first one. So I just grabbed it when I finished my other book, read it, and loved it. And then I said, wait a second. So it is what it is. I digress. I already beat myself up about it, but it's okay. What I will say is the Knock 'Em Out series, you can technically read them out of order. They could be standalone books, but it just helps to read them in order because then you'll know what's going on in the other books. So it makes sense to read them in order, but it did not. So I gave all 3 of these books 5 stars. They've become like my comfort series right now. And I'm just so happy that I found these. I had seen everyone online posting about the Knock 'Em Out series, and I'm like, what is everyone talking about? I understand it. I love them so much. So essentially, all 3 of these books are about the main characters are 2 different people. So the first one is Knox and Naomi. The second one is Nash and Lena. And then the third one, this is Lucien and Sloane. And yeah, these are basically, so I'll give you a little rundown of what they are. So Knox Morgan is, okay, basically Knock 'Em Out is a very small town, I believe in Virginia. And it's this town, everyone knows everyone gossips about everyone knows each other's business. So there is a woman who lives in Knock 'Em Out, Tina Witt, and she wreaks havoc on the town. She's just a terrible person. Yeah, turns out she has a twin, Naomi Witt, who actually got a call from Tina saying that she was in trouble and to come and meet her. She was actually going to get married, so she actually ran away from her wedding because she knew she didn't want to get married. So she was a runaway bride, ran away to Knock 'Em Out. Someone called Knox and said, hey, Tina's here at the coffee shop. Crazy. And so Knox comes and basically yells at her and says to get out. And she's like, I just got here, like all that. So you just know like they're going to fall in love, you know? And so basically she's like, I'm a twin, da da da. And he's like, what? I don't know. It's so cool. But yeah, so this one was very good. But I love this book right here. I don't know what it was. Things We Hide from the Light. Nash Morgan, there's something about the chief of police. He was just, I don't know. Nash and Lena, I love their story. It was just so good. I wanted to keep reading it. I didn't want it to end. So this was a very good book, but essentially she's actually Knox's friend. So, and Knox and Nash are brothers. And Lena is Knox's ex, basically, and Nash ends up falling for her, and she's like, I don't want to be with someone, I don't want to settle down, and that's all Nash really wanted was to have a family and a wife and all that. And so it just goes through their story, and it's just so sweet, and I really loved it. So if you're looking for a series to read, the Knock 'Em Out series is so good. I gave all 3 of these books 5 stars each on Goodreads, and I will go back and read them. Probably when I'm done with my TBR, I will revisit these books. So, very, very good. Next, I don't know why it took me so long to read this book, because it came out last year, and everyone was fussing all about it, and they're like, you have to read it. So I finally did. I love this book. This was my favorite book of the year so far, probably of last year too. I love Fourth Wing. It's such a good book. It's essentially about, so there are 4 quadrants: the riders, the scribes, the infantry, and the healers. And when you come of age, you basically join one of the quadrants, and this is about Violet Sorrengail, okay? So she studied her whole life to be a scribe because her father was a scribe. Her mother's the general. And so her mother said, like, last minute, no, you're not gonna be a scribe, you're gonna be a writer. And so she's like 5'2", she's tiny. She has to go through all these excruciating, grueling tasks to become a writer. And essentially she ends up bonding dragons, and it's just so good. Between the pages of this book, you will meet Zayden Ryerson. I can talk about him for forever, but let me just say, and then the second book, Iron Flame. I ran to the store because this has been sold out everywhere for a while. I wanted to get the special edition, but it's okay. So I ran to the store. As soon as I finished this book, I said, I have to have this. So I finished this one night and then ran to the store the next day and read this in probably 3 days probably. It was so good. I flew through both of these and I just love them so much. She is coming out with 5 books total. So that is the good news. The bad news is we have to wait until next year for book 3. And if you know anything about Iron Flame, this book ends on a cliffhanger, and I have so many theories about this. I need to start like a book club so we can talk about it. But Iron Flame and Fourth Wing. If you're looking to get into fantasy, please read these because they're just so good. It's romantic, it's full of action, it's full of dragons, it's full of Zayden Ryerson. They're good. They're so good. I cried, I blushed, I was angry, I laughed. I went through all the emotions reading these books and love this series so much. I gave both of these 5 stars on Goodreads. I love them so much. Now, the last series here I read in January was the Twisted series. This is a good series. I gave each of these 4 stars. It wasn't as good as the Knock 'Em Out series. I wouldn't say it's my comfort series, but they were all very, very good. My favorite was Twisted Lies. Something about Stella and Christian, I don't know. I loved it so much. These books are twisted though. I will say that. They're very sensual, I guess, spicy. They're very, very good. And that's something I wasn't prepared for. Like, no one told me that going into it. So they are so good though. But this is kind of like the Knock 'Em Out series where you can essentially read each of these separately. They can be standalone books. And they have 2 main characters. So Twisted Love is about Ava and Alex. It is the shortest book, but it took me the longest to read, which was funny. But it's a really good book. Twisted Games is about Reese and Bridget. Reese is Bridget. Bridget is a princess, and she is second in line to the throne. Her brother abdicates, and she ends up becoming queen. So it's kind of a crazy story, but Reese is her bodyguard, and they end up falling in love. And it's a wild ride throughout the whole time. And I loved it so much. Like, just this whole book. It was really good. So yes. Then next was Twisted Hate. So this is Josh and Jules. This was my least favorite in the Twisted series, but it was still very good. I just feel like I related the least to Josh and Jules, but still very, very good. Again, I gave it 4 stars. Twisted Lies, I am tempted to give it 5 stars. I would give it 4.5, maybe 5 stars. But it was very, very good. All 4 of these books are amazing. So if you are looking for a series to read, try out the Twisted series because I am telling you, they're good. And each one of these stories, they're so different. But like I said, you can read them separately, but things happen in the first 3 that you'll want to kind of know in the 4th book, but you don't have to. So yeah, so those were the 8 books I read in January. And I am so excited that I'm getting back into reading. I can't even tell you how much I missed it. So those are the books I read in January. I read 8 books total, and I am loving getting back into reading and immersing myself in these pages. And it's amazing. I still remember like being a kid growing up, and I still have the exact image in my mind of the library I wanted in my house and just being able to spend hours sitting in there and reading and basking in the sunlight and all that. Now that I know, like, I'm an adult, my library 100% would be in like a multi-million-dollar mansion. But I digress. It's okay. I can still dream about it. But yes, if you are looking for any books to read, I would highly recommend these books. And I want to read more books, and I want to read good books, but I don't know. I know that I'm into fantasy and fiction. Okay, I haven't really gotten into autobiographies or like stuff like that yet, but if you have anything that you highly recommend, leave your favorite books in the comments because I will add them to my TBR. But yeah, so that's my January list. I just started ACOTAR, so I'm hoping to get through all of those in February, so that'll be exciting, but we'll see how it goes. So if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment your favorite books below, and consider subscribing to my channel because I would love to make more videos on reading and books and recommendations and things like that. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video.